Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bama Standard. It's Tuesday night. Time for your favorite show on YouTube here on our new home on our own channel. Go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button. Jump in the live chat. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and let us know how you feel. Show us some love. We are brought to you by Workspace Solutions and Oakmont Financial Partners. With me is always a living legend, 1999 All-SEC linebacker, Marvin Constant. Senior analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, Stephen M. Smith, and the real star of our show, comedy legend, Steve Brown.
See how he tore the neck up on that shirt he have on?
It's no way to treat the star. This is the Bama Standard starring Steve Brown and them.
Justin don't waste no time getting on him.
Well, hi, fellas. How are you?
What kind of t-shirt is that? A she-neck you got on?
Hey, listen, man. Listen. I just want to, before y'all get started with all this this nonsense, I just want y'all to know that I want all of our supporters and fans to know I'm backing up what Justin said. We have our own channel. We need y'all to subscribe, like, follow, comment, do all that stuff. Right. We need you to do it and share. Very important.
Mm-hmm. And now that we're on our own channel, we brought some heavy hitters with us tonight. Stephen M. Smith, you're the MC. Introduce these folks.
Well, we had them on the last time, and they brought so much fun and excitement that we had to roll the dice and get them back in here again. So this is the father-son pass rushing duo. One of the greatest pass rushing duos I've ever seen. I'm standing here looking at him right now. We talk about the father played in the NFL, was knocking up Emmitt Smith a few times, more than a few times. The son gave some Alabama running backs a nightmare when he was playing for the Crimson Tide. So we bring on, crack open a can of Miller Lite. It's Miller time, baby. We got Christian and Corey Miller in here.
What up? What up?
Nothing
man,
about
you. Hey, you were like they were knocking up people. The last time I heard that, I had like 3 or 4 kids. So yeah.
Oh Lord.
No, they put him on child support.
Man.
Dang.
I can get you Dr. Cutler's number. He can take care of that for you. Cause
Shut up, Marvin.
Hey man, I like being able to walk around without a care in the world. I tell my wife all the time, baby, that ain't nothing but hot water, honey bun glaze, whatever you want to look at it as.
I don't know what to think about that, Steve.
Me either. Nobody knows what you're talking about, Marvin. Did you say hot water and honey bun glaze?
I said,
he did.
You can call it hot water, honey bun, whatever you want. Because I had a vasectomy some years ago, man. Listen, ain't nothing but hot water, honey bun. Hey, we took out the important part. Nope.
It didn't sound better the second time, Steve.
No, it didn't sound better at all.
Well, here's the thing. I'll be honest with you, man. I would recommend any man in his 40s or 50s to get a vasectomy. Because you don't want to be that parent at high school graduation and you hear somebody talking to your kid, talking, oh, you brought your grandparents with you.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah. Just, you know what? I get it. Get the vasectomy and also get a colonoscopy. But make sure you have, get that. Because I just got one and I'm kind of sitting still because colonoscopy, we all know everybody needs to get one, is when they insert the camera up your back end and it's painless. It's painless and they take pictures to see if you real talk. Let me finish.
But
they take pictures to see if you got colon cancer. But my insurance had lapsed, so they sent me to the clinic and I woke up in a lot of pain because they used a Polaroid. And
Steve, your doctor say you don't have to come every week for one, though.
Justin, you gonna let him talk to me like this?
He's starting to worry if you like you too much or not.
That segment brought to you by Shady Pines Retirement Home. Now listen, we have some heavy hitters in here. Before we get to the meat of things, fellas, y'all have a pretty awesome show. Go ahead and prop what y'all got going on. Tell the folks how they can find it and everything that's going on in the Miller's world.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Justin. So we got the Miller's Edge podcast that we do on YouTube. Missed a couple weeks. I got caught up doing a lot of stuff, but back on there. We were on last week, and we'll probably do another one. Either after this show, we might hop on there. We might do it tomorrow. That's the Miller's Edge on YouTube. We got a Twitter at the Miller's Edge as well as Instagram. I also do radio Monday through Friday on Tide 100.9. You can listen on the app or on your local station if you're in Tuscaloosa, Gadsden, Anniston, or Birmingham. But yeah, appreciate you guys having us on. We had fun last time. I'm glad we could be back and do it again.
Why haven't you called me to be on your show yet, though?
Hell no.
Because of that conversation we had just before their segment.
Listen, man, we're not ready for you, bro. We're not ready for you.
You mean you're not ready for Steve Brown?
I mean, both of y'all together, woo. You know what I mean? We got to get prepared. And, it takes preparation,
No
to
doubt.
handle a few jokers, man. You cats fired up, ready to go. You know what I mean?
In other words, Marvin, he's saying in a professional way, you're hard to deal with. You're hard to work with. You're hard to work with. Hey,
In other words,
Justin, man, hey, listen, spring training has started, and I'm so excited. I'm pumped. I'm jacked. I'm ready to go.
I am too. And let's go ahead and lead off with that. We'll let our guests speak on this. Before we jumped on, we talked a little bit about the quarterback situation. Guys, what are your thoughts going in? We've still seen a lot of unnecessary negativity being thrown the Jalen Milroe's way. I think it's kind of unwarranted, and we've done our best to explain as to why he can't be counted out. So I'll let our guests kind of roll things out. What are you expecting from Jalen Milroe? And Christian, I know you're kind of closer to the action than we are. What have you kind of seen from him that kind of gives you more confidence as we move into spring?
Well, I look at kind of how Coach Saban goes about things. Normally, he likes giving the older guy that first chance, and they're both going to receive, equal opportunities. But you look at a guy that stepped in last year when they needed him to. He did a great job when they needed to count on him to do that. But I think realistically, all these guys lack the experience. So I think everybody's kind of got a fair shot. It kind of reminds me of back in, was it going into 2016? We didn't really know who was going to be the quarterback. And it really could have been anybody. So I think that's what we're looking at here. They're going to give everyone a fair shot to earn that job. But realistically, Justin, I think a lot of people, they don't give him that fair chance because they look at him and they just assume just because he's an athletic guy that's all he can do, and they kind of count him out. But while I've been here at Alabama, I've seen a number of different guys work out at quarterback, and all of them have been different. I played with Blake Sims, who a lot of people acted as if he couldn't make those throws, and I watched him make all the throws he needed to. He helped us win games with his legs, and he also went on to set a lot of quarterback records. I played with guys like Jake Coker, who wasn't he didn't look like a mobile guy, but the guy could extend plays and use his legs and was tough enough to run guys over and had a rocket for an arm. I played with guys like Jalen Hurts. They counted him out. And now we look at Jalen Hurts and what he's doing in the National Football League. Borderline should have been the MVP and took his team to a Super Bowl. So it's one of those things where I think people just look at a guy and they have their perception of him. But realistically, you got to give him a fair chance. This kid's probably been working on his arm. And I know there's times, his accuracy struggled a bit. But he's still learning. He's growing. He's developing. He doesn't have much experience yet, and he'll get that. And it's a great opportunity for him in the spring. But they look at a guy like Ty Simpson, who's known to be more of a thrower, and that's what they want to see. They want to see Alabama throw the football, make those big plays. They're coming off of a guy like Bryce Young, who was a magician back there, almost like a mini Patrick Mahomes. Throwing it in tight windows, throwing the deep ball, doing everything you need him to do. So I think people kind of want to piggyback off of that. But realistically, Justin, the best person, the best player is going to get the job. The guy who can win the team over, the guy who's the best leader, the guy who gives the team the best chance to win games is going to get it. It doesn't matter if he's doing it with his legs. It doesn't matter if he's throwing it in the air or doing both. Whoever gives the team the best chance to win, that's who's going to be the quarterback.
You know what? Let me insert this as well. People, they're just being typical Bama fans. That's just what it is. It has a lot to do with it. It has so. It has so much to do with non-football situation to me. All right. First of all, they're judging this kid on something that happened to him last year. And I blame that on the OC that didn't prepare this kid for these games. Okay, they're just automatically giving him Ty Simpson the great white hope based on what he's done in high school. When if you look at Jalen Milroe's high school stuff, it looks even better than his. So to me, those are just being typical Bama fans, And I really believe that Jalen Milroe is going to come out focused. I believe he's going to have a season like none other. I think he's going to do really, really well. And I think he's already a team leader because he's showing resiliency. He's showing focus. And I think he's going to win the job hands down. And there's going to be a lot of disappointed and surprised Bama fans who have all this other stuff other than football on their mind. I ain't afraid to say it. That's just what it is.
You know, the reality of it is all these people who have something to say, most of them have never played football on a high level anyway.
Exactly.
And they have no clue what it takes. They don't understand the preparation that goes in the preseason as well as in the season. In season, you don't have time to work on fundamentals. You ain't out here working on footwork. You ain't doing it's all game preparation. So all of a sudden you're told you're going to start. Now you got to go straight to game preparation and you got to know everything. Man, it's a lot to take in about a 24 to 48 hour window. And again, fundamentals are not being worked on at that point in the season. You can guarantee you that. Fundamentals, that ended in August.
Well, Stephen, you about to say something?
We just seen a small sample size, right? That's all you see.
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe, and that's what they're basing their opinions on. They based it on, the Texas A&M game, and I forget the other game where he came in and had to play.
Arkansas, he came in.
Arkansas, he was phenomenal there.
Listen, he still won the game. They still got the win. It wasn't pretty. But, you're talking about a guy that came in. If you go back and watch that game, you see nerves. You see a lot of nerves. The guy was not comfortable in what they were. And so, listen, here's when I said what I said the last time I was on with you guys. I believe that they have a coordinator that, and Steve, you mentioned this, alluded to this, that you got to put a guy in position to make plays. So the best coaches can look at a guy and say, okay, I got a kid. He might be a better runner than a thrower, but he's decent. He can make certain throws. So I need to devise an offensive scheme that's going to take advantage or allow him to make plays. Listen, Tommy Rees is a guy that likes to play with tight ends. He's a guy that running the football is first and foremost. Nick Saban is wanting to get back to that, where Bama a standard, if you will, of being physical at the point of attack, running the football downhill. Now you got a quarterback who can excel with his legs. So you got a defensive coordinator got to worry about that. You use tight ends. You got short intermediate throws, which we know he can make, and you go ball. And so I think he fits the mindset of the coordinator that I think he has a better chance to excel. Now, if they go with another spread, zone read, RPO game, maybe Ty Simpson, maybe that's his skill set where they want to throw the ball all over the ballpark. But that's not going to be their mentality. I think they're going back to the old standard, the old ways of Christian always said, make them quit running the football. 4-minute offense in the fourth quarter, where they can get a lead, 10, 14 points, run out the clock. Don't judge a guy by a small sample size. I mean, again, we're listening to people that have no clue. We're listening to people who just get on Twitter, internet cowboys who think they know it all. And they make, it's the fringe 10. It's the people that fringe 10% of the fan base that speaks loudly. And we think that's the way most people feel. It isn't really. Right, but I'm just saying they're battling it out. Right, the best guy's going to win. The best guy that can protect the football, not turn it over, get his offense in and out of place. That's who's going to be the starting quarterback. And if you're a fan, who cares if they're black, they're white, they're running quarterback, they're Peyton Manning quarterback? You want the guy that's going to get you to that natty. You want that guy that's going to put another trophy in the case. You want the guy that's going to lead your football team and be able to beat Georgia and dominate, win SEC championships. That's who you want. Who cares about, he's a running guy? Well, Christian just said, Jalen Hurts, not too shabby. Blake Sims broke records. So you've had all types of quarterbacks, and most of them have been successful. So my question is to your fan base, why the freak do you care? You know what?
You know what? You know what? I don't have to say anything else. You spoke that for me. Thank you so much. I ain't got to say another word. As a matter of fact, I'm about to walk around with a picture of you on my shirt. You heard what the man said. You heard what he said. But I ain't got to say nothing else. But
I'm going to add to it, Steve. I seen Jim's comment saying that if a player's fundamentals aren't right in year 2, then that's a problem. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. When I said you work on fundamentals during camp, I'm talking about the first 2, maybe 3 weeks of practice. After that, the starter's getting all the reps. So a kid like him, 5-6 weeks into the season, he's not getting reps in practice like that. He out there getting game work. So by the time they call your number, if you hadn't done this in a month to a month and a half for real, how do you expect somebody to go out there and perform at a high level?
Marvin, you just said something. You know what? You said something else. I'm not going to put you on my shirt, though. I'm going to put Mr. Miller on my shirt. You're not going to put him.
I'll say this, though. I know we can't base it on the first practice, but yesterday's practice, Jalen Milroe just looks like he's been with some quarterback coach. Because if you look at it, the footwork's looking better. The release is looking tighter. He's been working with some type of private quarterback coach. But Christian, Saban has always talked about winning the team. And you played with Coach Saban. So from that standpoint, what does that look like? Because he always talks about it. But just from you playing with him, what does it look like winning the team?
That's a great question. And I will add one more thing. And just so people realize, if you go back, I think it was 2020 when Bryce was backing up Mac. Bryce, when he filled in those, trash minutes or what, I hate to say this, but he didn't look very impressive to me.
Exactly.
I'm just being honest.
Right.
He looked a little frazzled back there. He didn't show that poise and confidence that we see now. So people need to understand that guys grow and develop, especially like Marvin was just saying. He wasn't necessarily expecting to play. They throw Jalen Milroe in there. You got to remember, that was at a point in the season where they basically had to win these games. You're in SEC play. You couldn't really afford to lose. He had a lot of pressure on him to get to step in those moments. So, and again, I'm not talking down on Bryce. I just remember when he went in spare time and whatnot. There's a couple of times I remember I was like, he looks a little flustered back there.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have watched him in those moments and just predicted that, this guy's going to go win a Heisman Trophy. But again, that alludes to, guys grow and develop as they have time. But to answer your question, Steve, man, winning the team is one of those things where it takes time. You got to develop that. You got to develop the trust of your teammates, right? You got to be a leader. You got to set the tone, not just vocally, right? Anybody can go and speak and say all these things at meetings, but you go out there and do it on the field. You do it with your actions. You're a guy that's there for your teammates. And it's just about having that aura about you that this guy, he's the alpha, he's taking over, he's leading the group. We trust him. Like we're putting our faith in him to lead us. And that's pretty much what it looks like. I've watched numerous quarterback battles and you can tell when one guy starts separating themselves. I mean, it's not just a matter of the guy who's taking the reps with the ones, because, the way they do it at Alabama, one day or one period, one guy will be at the ones and the other guy will be at the twos, and they'll switch. So they'll go back and forth with the ones and the twos, and they'll alternate. But ultimately, you'll know when a guy starts pulling ahead, and that might be during training camp. It might not be until 3 games into the regular season, but at some point, you'll figure out who the guy is. I mean, I look back in 2015. We had Cooper Bateman starting at quarterback, and Jake Coker was there, and Bateman was great, but you just could sense there was more leadership out of a guy like Coker. We kind of trusted Coker a little bit more to be that guy. And ultimately, Bateman got hurt against Ole Miss, and Coker went in there, and that's all it took. Jake Coker won the team over in that moment, and he ultimately ended up starting the rest of the year, and we won the national championship that year.
And one other thing,
Cooper Bateman wasn't great.
and one other thing,
but you know what I mean. Like, he's a good guy, good player. He's a good. Look. He was a good player. I'm not gonna throw. It's one of my good friends. I'm not gonna throw him under the bus. But he was a good player. But obviously, Jake Coker was a better guy for the job, and we saw that. And that's ultimately what they went with, and that's we won the championship.
Yeah, but when you got those alphas at certain positions, when you get those alphas on the team, those guys don't like to share reps in practice. They ain't never coming out. So how do you expect somebody to prepare if they're playing behind somebody like Bryce? Bryce doesn't seem like the type of guy that's going to give up reps in practice, because he's going to do it until it's perfect.
Yeah, well, he had no choice but to give up some reps, because after he got hurt,
I'm saying no, before
he wasn't even reps. Yeah, before he got hurt, he was taking all the reps probably. But I'm just saying, like, when guys are battling it out, like what you'll see now, there's no returning starter. The way they do it is, Milroe might do the first team period with the ones. Ty will be with the twos. Then they'll switch. Next team period, Ty will be with the ones. That way, they're getting work with each group. They're showing what they can do with each group of receivers, the different offensive lines. and it makes it fair for everybody. It allows parity amongst the battle. I mean, you even got a freshman in Eli Holstein, I think. I mean, you can't count anybody out, because remember in 2016, no one really thought Jalen Hurts was going to be the starter. Everybody was thinking about Blake Barnett. And
that's not true.
Yeah, and he, you know what? True. And you know what? You know something though? This is the same scenario, because check this out. They were giving Jalen Hurts hell. He's an athlete. He's a runner. They kept jumping on. They were giving Blake Barnett he was the golden child. Next thing you know,
right.
He transfers. He's gone because you said something that a lot of fans needed to hear about our Heisman Trophy winner. When he first got in the game, he had me scared. I'm talking about Bryce Young, because he looked lost. I was like, okay, they've been talking so high on this kid, but again, he wasn't getting those reps. So and then when he finally gets his chance, he's one of the best quarterbacks you've ever seen. So I think again, they're judging these people, based on limited opportunities, and they're bringing somebody else in, thinking they're going to be the great white hype. I don't see it.
What do they always say? Practice makes perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I think one of the points we're missing too, and as we talking about, obviously the quarterbacks, Alabama, to me, if I'm watching spring practice, I'm circling the offensive line. I'm circling what we're doing.
Right.
Listen, you can talk about all these quarterbacks and whomever is taking snaps from center. If them 5 dudes in the front, them big nasty, them big butts, are not getting back to being nasty and moving people off the football and can get back in their pass sets and protect the quarterback, give him time to diagnose, give him time to scan the field and read. I don't care who you put back there. The problem with Alabama, as I watch every game, is they have taken a back seat in the offensive line. They have not had an offensive line that's been good the last couple of years. I've seen numerous other teams with much better across the board offensive linemen. They got to get back to protecting. They got to get back to running the football and then not become so predictable, because they're in 2nd and long, 3rd and longs. Our teams know you got an obvious pass situation. Now they just pinning their ears back and coming at you. To me, it starts in the trenches. If you're going to be a great football team again, you have to be great in the trenches, offensive line wise and defensive line wise. And to me, they've been soft. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The offensive line has been soft. That kid they brought in for Vanderbilt, who was light in the booty, had no butt getting pushed around. I mean, listen, man, you better get you some dudes with some attitude up front, some nasty. I mean, some nasty dudes up front that can block in the run game and protect in the pass game.
Mr. Miller, you know what? But you kind of threw me there when you said big nasty, because it made me think of a girl I met in the Greyhound bus station. But that's neither here nor there.
I think we have that in the offensive line right now.
On the shirt, by the way, put her on the shirt.
Yes, I think that Seth McLaughlin, and J.C. Latham and Tyler Booker are that level of nasty you're talking about, and I feel like they're going to cause the other guys around them to follow suit. I feel like the offensive line is probably going to be the most improved position group, and under Eric Wolford, he's going to get them back to that level of play that we're accustomed to.
Can we get DJ Fluker a fake birth certificate?
Now, I wouldn't mind that, as he gonna be in Tuscaloosa for pro day. I absolutely wouldn't mind that. I think on the offensive line, there's one position battle, and it's at left guard. I think that's gonna come down to Darian Dalcourt and the freshman Caden Proctor. Those two are gonna battle that out for left guard. It's gonna be interesting to see which one takes that, because if Dalcourt gets that, yes, it's experience, but if Caden Proctor at 6'8", 330 gets that, and he's already coming in here with kind of that nasty mindset that Mr. Corey, you just alluded to right there. It's going to be fun to watch this offensive line.
Yeah,
the tight end we had.
Any of those battles, because I think Alabama is at its best when they can run the football.
Exactly.
And I know they kind of, Coach Saban kind of allowed, you go back to Mike Loxley, you go to Lane Kiffin, you go to Steve Sarkisian, the offense have changed, and Coach said, okay, we want to do things a little bit different. But I said this earlier, when you look at Georgia, and I know Coach Saban is looking at Georgia like this guy, Kirby Smart, has taken everything that I taught him. And he's won back-to-back national championships, and including they beat Alabama. What did they do? They dominated in the trenches. They were the most physical offensive line in the country. They were the most physical defensive front in the country, and they played football with an attitude. I know people got bent, up in arms about Kirby Smart's, his comments. That's what I'm talking about. Old school, hit the dude in the mouth. Y'all almost made a preacher say a bad word here. Hit dudes in the mouth.
I say it for you. I say it for you.
Right? And be physical. Alabama got soft, and they were soft on both sides of the ball in the trenches. I mean, it wasn't your typical Alabama standard. It wasn't because they got too cute. We get too cute sometimes playing football. Football still is about the basics, blocking and tackling. And the teams that do that the most consistent win games. And we as Alabama fans have sat back 2 years and watched Kirby Smart take Alabama's game plan and take it down to Athens, Georgia, and say, hey, I know what the ingredients is to win a championship. I got to build my team inside out, and I got to get some dudes. I got to get some tough dudes. I got to get some dudes that I can punch in the mouth. I got to get some dudes that I can cuss at, that they ain't going to go to the TikTok lives and the Insta lives and tell the mama. They got to get some real dudes. You got to go in the hood and get some dudes, right? And have some dudes on staff that can holler at them. You got to have some kind of dudes like that. You don't need a whole team full of them. You got to have a few of them.
And not only that, when you got that group of dudes, you better have one on offense and one on defense that's a step above the rest that can control as well as run those units successfully. Because you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have that alpha that's superior to the rest, it ain't gonna work no way.
Right. I'm with you on that. Bless you, by the way, when you sneeze.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I do want to take a look at something. Dallas Turner and Deonte Lawson have been listed as out for the rest of the spring game. You have guys right now who have a tremendous opportunity to step up. Most notable, Kendrick Blackshire, a guy that coming out of high school looked like he was a grown man, looked like he was on loan to us from the NFL, and he just hasn't been healthy. But now he knows the playbook. He's healthy. He's got the mental aspect down. We also look at Tresman Marshall, transfer from Georgia. And then if Dallas is out, we've got Jeremiah Alexander waiting to step in. Christian, I'll start with you. What kind of opportunity does this present to these young guys, especially with such a high ceiling? Especially, if you would comment first on Kendrick Blackshire.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tremendous opportunity. I look, I can't remember what year it was, but I think it was, Ryan Anderson and Tim Williams were dealing with injuries in the spring. And I went from, second and third team reps to I'm taking first team reps all of a sudden. It was when I was younger, and that I had no choice but to grow up. I got thrown in the fire that spring, and it made me a much better player. And it was quicker than I anticipated, but those guys were dealing with injuries, and I had no choice but to step up. And again, I'm a firm believer, when you put yourself in these situations, you have no choice but to grow. And so I think that's what's going to happen with these guys. They have a great opportunity, and I'm excited to see what they can do. Kendrick Blackshire is a guy, has all the physical attributes. I think with him, it's just been a matter of him really learning his role, learning the position, how to play the position, especially in this defense, right? Because as much as we would love to just, tell him to go on the field and just hit anything you see, Alabama's defense, at the linebacker position, you got to be a smart guy. You got to understand the defense. You got to help command the defense. You got to basically be the quarterback of the defense. So it doesn't matter if this guy is big, strong, fast, however you want to call it. If he doesn't know what he's doing and he can't help the other guys to get lined up and do what they're doing, he's not going to be on the field. But this is a great opportunity for him. And he finally has that time under his belt where he's been in the system. So I'm sure the playbook is finally coming along a lot better for him. But also, this will be a good chance for him to step up as a leader and show what he can do. Yeah.
Mr. Christian Miller. Was he not better than Toa Toa?
It's hard to say. Like I told you last time, Marvin, you gonna butt heads. You're gonna butt heads with me on this. Like I said, man, the way it works around here, they're gonna play the guy who they can trust the most. I've seen it firsthand. I've been here where in other positions where other guys might not have been the best player at the position, but they were the most trusted, and that's why they were on the field. So
Christian, listen. I know your name is Christian. We're gonna need you to backslide just a little bit.
But it's not that. But here's the thing, though. I'll be honest with you. I haven't seen Kendrick Blackshire as much. I've only seen him. He played a lot of special teams reps. I've seen him at practice here and there. But if I'm being honest with you, it's hard for me to say that without seeing him in a real live game situation.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know what I mean? Because I know he coming out of high school, he's great. And again, I've heard, as a player, I hear in the building they love him as a player. But I've also heard that mentally he just was not there yet. If I'm being completely honest with you, they said he still had a ways to go. So
you know what? Just like Ben Davis, just like Ben Davis, he was there for how many years? 9, 10.
Something like that, 9 to 10.
Yeah, got his doctorate. He was taking classes.
In his 8th year.
Yeah, he was there about
Hey, he's actually balling out right now in the XFL.
He was there. He was there when I was a freshman 3 times at Stillman. So I know. He was there.
But you know what, Justin? I gotta say this though. I've never been a fan of guys sitting out in the spring. Now, if a kid is truly hurt, I'm all for letting them rest. But I've never been a fan of letting guys sit out during the spring. Like when I was in school, Dubos didn't make Sean practice. Like I don't know what you sparing them from, but you're not helping us because when you're out there in the spring, you want to go against the better guys to get better. I don't want to go against the second or third team guy who should probably be at a lower tier school, but he's here and he's not performing the way he should. But now this is what I got to go against all spring. How's that gonna make me better as a person?
Well, those two guys. Marvin, that's not the case here. I guarantee you that because I'll tell you firsthand. Coach Saban, when I was here, it didn't matter if your ass had a broken leg. If you could somehow strap it up and be out there in the spring, you're gonna be out there. It was only unless you had surgery, which, I mean, I'm not going to speak on these guys, but if you've had a surgery or a procedure or something done that you need to rest or be sidelined, then you'll be out for the spring. But realistically, I'll be honest with you, Coach Saban does not rest guys during the spring. If you can go,
that's my only
go.
thing. If
both those guys had surgeries. Coach Saban said it. They had procedures, and so, they had procedures,
I will try to get out of spring press anytime I could. I don't care what kind of procedure I had. I hated spring.
What are you going to add, Steven?
What I got? Listen, I'm like, hey, what I need to be out there for? I do some conditioning. I do some lifting. Listen, you know what you're gonna get on Saturday from me.
I used to like terrorizing people though.
I ain't going out there for some young kid that's trying to, make the team or make the traveling roster. Now, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sit over here and get me the medicine ball, right? But all y'all working out. You know what I mean? Yeah, do some more. Let's do some of these twists. Yeah, get up and run 100 yards.
I hate it. Yeah.
When August came around, they know 33. We're gonna be ready to go. That's all that matters. So I don't mind resting some guys if they have gotten to that place where you can trust them, right?
I like teaching life lessons throughout the season. So you ain't gotta rest me. Let me go teach somebody something real quick.
I got kicked out of spring practice because the coach was like, strap it up and get out there. So I put on a condom, went on out there, and they was like,
what? What? Oh man!
We just became that show. Stephen Smith, what were you going to add before we went off on this?
I was going to say I was just going to confirm that Dallas Turner and Deonte Lawson did have procedures there. They did have surgeries there.
I told you.
We got a question from the audience.
You heard it first.
But go around the room real quick from Alabama Cowboy. Who do you think would be those alphas?
Man,
there's too many new people to tell.
I was about to say it's kind of tough to say, but I'll say I don't really care who it is. They just need somebody, and not just one guy. They need as many as they can get. They need guys to step up. They need guys that aren't afraid to get in your ear. They need guys that'll get in your face and tell you when you're screwing up, because I feel like that's what we started to lack last year. And we had great leaders. Don't get me wrong. Will, Bryce, these guys are phenomenal leaders. But you need several different types of leaders, right? You got to have guys that aren't scared to tell you to shut the hell up and do this. I mean, like when I was there, Jonathan Allen, Reuben, Ronnie Harrison, those guys, They weren't scared. They weren't scared to get in your face, and they weren't scared to fight you over it either. But again, it was all love, though. We knew that. It was just a very pure form of accountability amongst each other, and that's what Coach Saban wants. He don't want the coaches to have to keep telling you to do stuff. He wants the players to run the room. He wants it to be a player-run team. And I think the more guys you have that step up to be alphas, the better you are. So, and this is where it starts. It started in fourth quarter. It always starts when you're grinding it out and doing the hard work in fourth quarter in the weight room, and then it gets to spring ball. It progresses there. Back to the summer program, you build it there, and then ultimately in training camp, that's when it really needs to be solidified. Because then when you go into the season, you have your established leaders.
But that goes back to the point I made earlier, that you got to have that one alpha that's a step above the rest. Because when you're standing in the huddle with 10 other dudes that's all top 50, top 100 players in the country who all think they all world, you better be at the best. You better be the best of the best to get them to listen to you. Because if you're not, they're not going to pay attention to nothing you're saying.
When we used to have a saying. We used to say when too many people that shouldn't have been stepping up and talk, like we used to say there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Sometimes you just got to let the leaders lead. You know what I mean? Too many guys barking and doing too much, and you know what I mean? It's superficial. No, just let the dudes who are established, let them call the shots, and everybody else shut up and just.
But you know what, though? But in that situation, when you got a younger guy and he's commanding that respect from juniors and seniors, it's not easy to do.
It's not. No, it's not. You got to earn your stripes. I mean, you know it because you stepped up early on. Yeah, it's not easy, but you know as good as I do. You know, once you prove yourself to those older guys, they respect it. You know, it's somewhat of a different dynamic, but they respect you. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, Christian, you look the part. You think you can alter that birth certificate and go on out there?
No, sir, I'm not. I have no interest. I would love to put a Crimson Tide jersey on again. Those are the best years of my life, Steve. But no, man, I'm too old.
I mean, you have the COVID year.
They need to bring Ruben.
Yeah, there you go.
Find us some Ruben Foster types. And when you get Ruben Foster types, I'm talking about after the game, as you walk back to the dorm and see, like, who the hell that's smoking that black and mild? You know, it's like,
some Tony Browns.
Ruben didn't even wait for the dorms. Ruben be in the shower with the cigarette. I mean, he said it on the show. I'm not spilling the beans. Ruben said it on the show. I think Ruben will tell you. Yeah, Ruben he didn't wait for the dorms. Ruben was in the locker room.
That was a lot of the dudes who I played with were the exact same way.
He's old school.
Now, Christian, I'm joking, but you do have to have that alpha mentality, though. I mean, and I think they have lost that the last couple of years. I honestly think, players take on a persona. We all know this. They take on a personality of the coach.
The coach.
And when Nick was losing his brains on the sideline, throwing headsets, cussing Christian out because he jumped off sides against Louisville, the game by 30. I like to see. I mean, I like nice Nick.
Well, yeah. Speaking of that, man, Will was tripping against Texas, man. Will was tripping against Texas. He didn't even yell at him once. I don't think. I'm thinking in my head, damn. I jumped off sides. We're big. I'm talking about. He chewed me out like I was 10 yards away from the sideline getting chewed out. I'm walking up the sideline. He's still chewing me out. Yeah, he met me on the field, man. I'm talking about.
But now we got Coach Saban walking up with the sideline with his arms crossed. He ain't saying nothing. And I'm like, is Coach coming to the age starting to get to him? No, you know what it is? It's the society that we live in.
Thank you.
I said this today on my Twitter. Pastor Payne 57 if anybody want to follow. Yeah, it's like, you saw that little
that plug.
Little plug. I like that.
Here's what the deal is.
I like it.
I'm gonna say it here on this big time national podcast that y'all have. I called it driving and I was thinking and driving. That's what I was doing today. And I thought about the sanctity of locker rooms, right? There's no more sanctity in the locker room. There's no more the private sector, we're family, we foxhole dudes, everything stays in the locker room. You can get cussed out. Coach can say certain things. Players can say certain things. They can't do that no more, right? Because somebody got a phone somewhere. Even players, they got the phones after games. They got the phones out. They already going live. And, so the coach can't come in there. Halftime, they go get the phones out the lock. I mean, we've lost the locker room. We lost what the football and what sports should be about toughness and working together, foxhole dudes. But now the society and social media, you can't say anything. You can't cuss guys out no more. You can't coach a guy a certain way because they'll quit. They'll get in the transfer portal. So the game has changed. It's a soft game. We're soft mentally. We're soft physically, you know, and everybody's about building a brand, how many clicks, how many followers we get, and there's no more sanctity in the locker room. Back when I played, what happened in the locker room is stayed in the locker room. And they will be fights in the locker room. I remember Carl Banks, our coach up at halftime, we playing the Redskins, Ray Hanley, and told him how bad he sucked. And Lawrence had to come and grab Carl Banks off of him because Carl was choking him out. I mean, it was crazy stuff, but it was a locker room. It's like, dude, we had 53 guys. Listen, we go to war, we go to battle, bro. And like, we fight one another, we cuss one another. It was about winning, right? You can't do this kind of stuff no more. If a coach yells at a kid, well, he gonna call his mama. Or, you know, this and that and the third. And she gonna go to Twitter and she gonna say how the coach is, you know, beating the player up. Listen, man, we live in this soft football world. I'm sorry. We lack toughness. We lack discipline, what would Alabama have last year? Lack of discipline. We need to get the Scott Cochran back. Yeah. Fourth quarter, like, oh, bro, you're going to feel like you're dying out here. You know what I mean? It's like, it built something from a mental standpoint of toughness. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I think this is the problem. This ain't just Alabama. It's football in general.
You just made me have a flashback.
Uh-oh.
Don't put me on your shirt, though.
Here we go.
No. When you was talking about coaches and players fighting, if any of y'all can pull up the Ole Miss Alabama game from 1999, I think it was in the second or third quarter.
Second quarter,
coach
sir.
fighting
I was
on the
there.
sideline, going at it.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, listen,
hey, you know what,
Mr.
Miller?
Yes,
Everything you said is 100% accurate. And you know what? It's like that in the world now. It ain't just football. And that's what the biggest problem is. Everybody is sensitive now, just super sensitive. And that's one of the reasons I hate they came up with this transfer portal. I hate they came up with it. I hate it. You can't. You shut up, man. I hate it.
I will say, while you're on a roll, Pastor, that bringing Kevin Steele here is one of the precursors to restoring that. And what are you looking for from him in this spring that really allows those dogs just to come out of the house again and be unchained and not be sitting on the porch?
Because I know Kevin Steele. He's a South Carolina native from Dillon, South Carolina, way down in the deep country. He's old school. I know that they will get taught the fundamentals of the game again. We're not going to have the 2-2-0s keep trying to run around blocks all the time and things like that. We're going to be facing hands. We're going to be facing hands. We're going to get off blocks. We're going to have we're going to have gap discipline. Right, I'm saying I mean in Alabama, you get back to gap discipline. They lost all of that last year. I mean, you go back to the Ole Miss game and even the K-State game. I mean, they were getting just shredded. And when you get as a defensive player, and that makes me mad, that you just sit back and allow an offense to run the football on you, and you don't compete off about it. Right, that's a problem. And I saw guys, nobody mad, nobody angry. They just getting gashed. That tells me that the coach was soft. I like Pete. I know Pete. I go back to the Delta, down to Mississippi. I like him as a person, but the players took on his mentality of softness. And they play defense soft. To answer your question, Kevin Steele is going to bring back old school, and they will tackle better. They will have better run discipline. They will have better fundamentals when it comes to how to attack the block, setting the edge. I've never seen so many times where they were so undisciplined at setting the edge. It was bad. Then I just saw that coach said T-Rob was going to coach the secondary. I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good
great idea. Great idea.
Listen, man, and I know people probably say, "Oh, you so negative." I'm just telling you the gospel truth is what I see. And if Alabama going to get back to winning championships, This is the mentality, and that's why you see Kevin still back. Because Coach Saban knows, listen, we're gonna get rid of all this cute soft stuff. We're getting back to playing football the way I know that we win championships, that we dominate people. And again, Christian always said, make people quit, make people turn down. And how do you make them turn down? When you busting them in the mouth and they feeling you for 60 minutes. That's how you make people quit. And so you got to get back to that. And then find some dudes in recruiting that can handle that type of tough coaching. And that,
Hey, Justin.
those
Excuse me, Justin. Before we go any farther, I want to make a move not to let Mr. Miller talk anymore because he's a pastor and he's telling his truth. And pretty soon he's going to ask us for offering. I see it coming.
Hey, Steve, I have one question for you.
You want my Venmo on PayPal? I got cash help.
Mr. Miller, I just have one question for you. Why was that not Christian's answer? Why he always giving us the politically correct answer?
Because he works for the team, man.
Because he works for the program, man.
You can't don't get him fired messing with us.
Listen.
That's why he got Daddy here, bro. Let Daddy can say that.
That's why I bring him along. You know, he can speak his mind, and I may or may not agree with the things that he's saying. So I'll let him.
Christian, listen, man. Listen. Let me help you out. Just be like me. Quit and go back the next day like ain't nothing happened. Show up on time and everything. It's okay. It's fine.
You mentioned Ashawn, Christian. Now, Ashawn didn't have to say nothing. Ashawn would just look at you, and half the folks just cower in fear. He wouldn't
exactly.
Even say that.
Steve, right. I'll tell you something, man. A lot of people don't understand when you're standing in the huddle and you're looking at dudes like Ashawn, the Jonathan Allens, the Kenny Smiths, the Cornelius Griffins of the world, you better have some balls about yourself trying to tell them what to do. Because if you ain't got no balls, they're going to eat you alive.
Yeah.
We got a question.
He was 50 years old when he played.
We got questions from the audience.
And I took Christian, he dropped him off. I saw Ashawn. Ashawn came in the room, the dorm room, right?
Yeah, Ashawn lived right across from me.
I was like, man, I didn't know coaches live with players. How you doing, Mr. Miller? Beard hanging down the head, big black shiny head, red eyes. I was like, oh boy, you still playing? I gotta pray for my son, boy. You got to hit that weight room quick.
But that's why I say you better have some alphas who are a step above. Because when you trying to control those personalities and in real time, when they in the heat of the moment and that adrenaline pumping, you better have some about yourself.
Amen.
Stephen and Smith, I'll direct this question to you from the audience, from Randy Smith. And if anyone would like to add on, please do. Do you see the new the tight end, C.J. Dupree from Maryland, catching over 50 balls this year?
No.
You're on mute, Steve.
I don't see over 50, 25 maybe. 20, 25, I don't see over 50 because you got Ja'Cory Brooks in that room. You got Isaiah Bond, who's been working with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill off season. You got Kobe Prince in the room. Malik Benson, the JUCO transfer, is going to have something to say about this. So C.J. Dupree, 20 to 25 catches, 20 to 25.
You know what? Can I add to that? But think about it. I'm with you on that too, Stephen, because think about it. The new offensive coordinator, he's more so a run first coordinator. So you know, for the most part, this guy's probably going to be doing a lot of run blocking. And then it's the other guy, I think is number 46. I'm a fan 45. Of his. What's his last? What's his? Oops. He's a dog. He's a dog.
I would really like, and I don't think Nick Saban's going to do this, but I would like if we could switch him to fullback. Because he can. That's a nasty power blocker.
H-back, Steve. Nobody really uses a fullback anymore. The H-back is the hybrid model. Come on, man.
I get he's an H-back. I know he's an H-back can catch the ball too. But his skill set to me, he's like a traditional power fullback.
But nobody uses a traditional fullback anymore.
I understand.
But I'm just saying
he could serve in a
he'll run you over, Marvin.
Role.
He'll run you over, Marvin.
Yeah.
Well, I think the kid can catch 50 balls because I'm thinking what you said, Steve, the fact that how he utilizes tight ends. You look at Michael Mayer, the former tight end at Notre Dame, is going to be a first-round pick in the draft this year. Tommy Reed's a guy, he probably a leading receiver. So, you know, even though they got Brooks and those guys at wide receiver, I see them utilizing the tight end even more because he loves the 2 and 3 tight end sets. And if Jalen Milroe is the quarterback, who's the best friend of a quarterback like a Milroe? Those safe intermediate passes, they go to the tight end. So, the guy that we got from Coach Locks, I think if he's a good route runner, smart route runner, he could possibly catch 50 balls because I think, they're going to utilize that short passing game more so they have done in the past.
Great point, Mr. Miller. Steve should have seen them in them glasses. I don't know what he's looking at. Come on, man.
They underutilized him at Maryland. Which they did. He only caught like 3 or 4 touchdowns at Maryland. I'm saying here is if you look at just the receivers here, because everybody wants the ball. So it's going to be difficult for him to get 50 catches. Now, if he gets 50 catches, that's big. But everybody going to want the ball. You got 1 football and 20 dozen mouths to feed. So,
but here's the thing you got to consider, Steve. When you're breaking in a new offensive line, new quarterback, that ball ain't gonna be able to. He ain't gonna be able to sit there and hold that ball forever. He's gonna have to get the ball out quick. When you got to get the ball out quick, who's a quarterback most likely to go to?
Okay, but Marvin, I want to say this though. But this past season, the receivers didn't really step up like that. You know who the leading receiver was?
Running back.
Jahmyr Gibbs, a running back. So it's kind of like wide open.
But part of that was the ball's got to come out quick because Bryce running for his life. So when that ball has to come out quick, if it ain't going to the tight end, it's going to go to the running back. But did we have a tight end who was up to par this year? Again, when you have a new quarterback and your offensive line isn't up to par, the ball has to come out quick. Tight end.
Latu seemed like he didn't even want to be there.
Exactly.
He played like he didn't even want to be there.
OJ Howard never had over 50. I think OJ Howard only had, most he had was 45 or so receptions.
That's different. What receivers was there when OJ was there, though?
Calvin?
Sure,
Calvin, Ardarius.
Right.
Amari Cooper, Calvin.
Ardarius
Stewart.
Richard Mullaney.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey man, we hadn't had a tight end like OJ Howard since OJ Howard left. He not only was he a blocker, he was fast. He ran great routes.
Yeah.
You can see that in Amari Black. I feel like he may be the second coming of OJ Howard. Real quick before moving to the second segment, because time's evading us, Steve Brown, Denunzio Washington says, seen you at the Improv in Raleigh, North Carolina over the weekend. Funny guy. Roll Tide.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I was the star of the show there. This is why they chose me to be the star of this show. But thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
All right, real quick, I want to touch on Pro Day. Christian, if you would lead this conversation because you went through it yourself, what's different about Pro Day as opposed to the NFL Combine? What can a player gain, if anything? Do they have the opportunity to improve their stock? We're going to see Bryce compete. He's going to be throwing. He's going to be running. And as you mentioned, Steve, Latu will have an opportunity to perform for coaches and scouts. He wasn't able to be in the NFL Combine because of an injury. But can you kind of let the audience know, the answer to those questions for us, Christian?
Yeah. So when you're doing Pro Days, you're a lot more comfortable. Obviously, you're in your home. You're in the indoor where you've been practicing the past 3, 4, 5 years. Your teammates are surrounding you. Just a much more comfortable environment. At the Combine, man, when you're doing those field drills, it's like rapid pace, right? Like, the TV's going, the coaches just are calling you number by number, and you're just running out there doing a drill, running back out, running back. I mean, it's very stressful. The days leading up to it, you're spending hours in the hospital doing your medical testing. You're doing, psych evaluations and testing on computers, Wonderlic tests. You're meeting with teams and scouts. So it's a very stressful environment. Then you top it off with, the on-field portion. Pro Day, you're prepping for it, and that's pretty much all you got. You might meet with some teams that same day, but realistically, the focus is on the field work. And again, it's just so much more comfortable. It's only your guys that are included, and you know what to expect. Your former teammates are cheering you on and whatnot. But it's a great opportunity to showcase what you can do. I only did several things at the Combine because I was coming off that torn hamstring. But then Pro Day, I competed in everything. And I think it tremendously helped me in my stock because I was able to go out there, do pass rush drills, show what I can do as a pass rusher, but also did linebacker drills. That's the other good thing. You can if you play multiple positions or you're a dynamic player, you can do multiple things at pro day. But I think it's going to be a great opportunity. Bryce is going to be throwing here where he's used to. He's going to be throwing to his guys. And at the combine, he would have been throwing to receivers he's never thrown with. So he has that advantage. So you just have a much better advantage when you do pro day versus the combine. So, yeah, I think you can dramatically increase your stock. Now, guys that competed at the combine, if they did well there's probably no reason for them to come back and do pro day as well. And typically, if you competed at the combine, you did well, you don't have anything to prove. You almost want to just sit on that because it's probably a better bet. But guys that didn't get to compete at the combine, yeah, they'll go out pro day and show what they can do.
Well, one of the things the eye's going to be on Bryce. We all know what it's going to be. It's going to be the Bryce Young show this Thursday, right? Alabama Day. It's going to be the Bryce Young show. I mean, every coach, every scout, every GM, every team in the National Football League, all 32 will be represented in the indoor facility. They want to see Bryce Young. I promise you, they're gonna weigh him again. Is he really 204? Did he, eat some bricks the night before? So they're gonna want to see if that weight really consistent. We know he's 5'10" and an 8th. But here's my thing, guys. Okay, I'm not gonna pass the plate around, Steve. Don't worry about it. But here's the film tells me everything I need to know, right? A lot of these drills are just so stupid and a waste of time. Yeah, they're drills that never is going to happen on the football field. And if I'm a GM, I turn the tape on of Bryce Young, and I see 2 years of tape. I don't need to see him throwing and against air or throwing in the indoor facility. I know he does it, but that's not going to make him go up or down for me. What makes him go up or down for me is what I saw on tape. Because the dude is a player. The dude can make every throw. He is a magician. He can extend plays. He's faster than you think, right? Bryce Young is a football player that plays the quarterback position. I don't get how people think that pro day is going to make, I'm going to take him in the first round now because I see him throw a dig route in the indoor facility with no defense, with nobody rushing him. So that's going to make me, if I'm the Carolina Panthers, Frank Wright, Scott Fitterer, is that going to make me say I'm going to take Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud or Anthony Richardson or Will Levis because what I see in a stupid bubble? No. What's going to make me take Bryce Young is what I've seen of a 2-year sample size of tape shredding the best conference in college football. That's what's going to make me. I don't get all this stuff. I think it's a waste of time. I know some guys want to go out there and run and do drills. That's good. I didn't need to see, maybe Christian Miller because he couldn't do anything at the combine. Yeah, I need to see him again. I want to see really how well he moved in space because he played with his hand down most of the time in the defense under Nick Saban. I think he's going to be a 3-4 outside linebacker. So I need to see him buzz in the flat a little bit. I need to see him off the ball. Can he get to the hook zone? And let me see him break back inside. So yeah, I can see true linebacker drills. I get that because he played a different way, and we're thinking about using him maybe a different way, right? So yeah, I can see that. But to suggest that somebody's stock, his stock, Anthony Richardson's stock would not rise for me because he ran a 4.4. I saw the tape run past people. Jerry Rice ran a 4.7, right?
Wow.
4.7. But I've seen him run past Deion. I've seen him run past. What did he run then? 4.3? That tells me everything I need to know. So I think it's overblown, guys. I think this whole draft thing is, we get these talking heads, Mel Kiper and the other guy.
Thank you.
And don't have a clue about nothing. Turn
Mr.
on
Miller.
the freaking tape. The big eye in the sky don't lie. I don't need pro days to tell me if this guy gonna go up around or down around. That's not. I go by the tape, and then maybe when I meet the guy, what kind of personality is he? What's his character like? That will tell me a little bit more, but not what we do on pro day, guys. Come on, man.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, sir.
Can I add one thing to your point? One thing that a lot of people don't take into account. C.J. Stroud versus Bryce Young. C.J. Stroud was throwing to Marvin Harrison Jr. and Chris Olave. Who has Bryce been throwing to?
And Jalen, whatever his name is.
I can go throw it to Marvin Harrison Jr. and he gonna bring it in. That dude is unreal.
I mean, if I'm the Carolina, I've been in my backyard.
Hey,
That's all they're talking about every day. Who should they take? If I'm taking Bryce Young because I think he does possess the Patrick Mahomes factor. I don't care
yeah,
if he's 5'10" and an 8. Who cares? That don't matter in football no more. You move in the
his
pocket,
football.
you extended plays, you're doing crazy things. He can play at 5'10" and 8, right?
And
CJ
Yeah,
again,
his football.
I don't
His
know.
football,
He
but
played good.
his football
Yeah.
instincts are like crazy good too.
I mean, he's tough too. I mean, he's a tough kid. So I like Bryce Young and more so than Stroud. That's my opinion.
but look at it like this though. Who has Bryce been throwing? Steve, you make this point early. The leading receiver was a running back.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Again, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr. versus Gibbs
Look,
as top receivers.
And Jigba, he had three top receivers.
You look at what Marvin's saying here is Bryce Young has had to overcome a lot more than CJ Stroud. Bryce
Exactly.
Young had to overcome receivers dropping a ton of passes that hit them dead in their hands, and still was able to pull some stuff out. If you look at it, when Bryce Young left the field against Tennessee and LSU, Alabama had a lead. If Alabama holds on to that lead defensively, yes, it wins those games, but Bryce Young has overcome a whole lot more.
All right. Before we move into our closing segment, Steve and M, you got a question here from Roll Tide 65. Is it me or did the secondary gain a little weight / muscle? It looked a little bit more physical on day one.
They got some gains on him. Kool-Aid McKinstry picked up weight. He's close to 200 now. He's at 195. Malachi Moore's at 200 now. Christian Story's at 211 pounds now. Terrion Arnold's at 195 now. So a lot of these DBs, they picked up weight. They picked up weight because they know we got to be physical with these receivers. They saw how Jalen Hyatt burnt them like toast last year in the Tennessee game. So these receivers have put on some weight. They put on some physicality. They know we got to reroute some guys. We got to be physical with some dudes. They put on some weight and some muscle.
Okay. Well, we're about out of time, but before we run out of here, I'm going to turn it over to Marvin to start our closing segment. What you got going on for 40 Plus Strong? And tell us about some other projects you may have.
Oh man, just working, working. Again, you can follow me on my Instagram, Constant45, or on Twitter, Constant451. Again, if you're looking for a tool that's going to help you, get yourself back together in your late 30s, 40s, 50s. My book, Best $15 You Ever Spend, man, talks about everything with processing stress to working out, to diet. Best $15 you ever spend, man. You can find a link on my Amazon to the Amazon on my Instagram bio. Again, if you're looking for a change of pace, you can even track your workouts in there. There's 3 different workouts: one for beginner, one for intermediate, and one for people who've been working out forever, top of the food chain. It's a challenge for everybody in the book.
Wait a minute. So if I go and click on your thing, your link, so you're gonna give me workouts, right?
No, you're gonna gain weight.
I can do that on my own.
Yeah, no, the link in my Instagram bio takes you to Amazon, to the book.
Yeah, but he didn't tell you. He didn't tell you in chapter 12. He got cut out coupons for Snickers and Honey Buns and
He didn't mention Honey Bun Glaze. He did. Listen, hey man. First of all, you tell me I gotta read something. That's
well, if you just want to do the workouts, it's 3 different 6-week workout programs in there. You don't have to read that. You can just track your progress in the book.
Do some crunches. I don't know what else can I do. I do a few. I was on 225 on the incline today for about 8 reps.
Well, if you Steve Brown, all you're gonna do is neck exercises to support that dome all day. That's all he do. That's all he work is this.
I ain't got time for this.
Steve, what you may have time for is let the audience know what you got coming up. Are tickets still available for the Stardome, or are they sold out? Tell us your schedule.
I think 2 of the shows have sold out, and that's a really big blessing, man. But before I say what I got going on, I have to send a special shout out. I don't even think we mentioned it. Deonte Hightower has retired, and Alabama legend. I don't like him because he never laughed at any of my jokes, but I'm not going to tell him that. But anyway, I'm I'll be at the Stardome the 14th through the 16th of April, and just doing a lot of traveling and touring, man. And of course, pushing the Bama standard, because we have our own YouTube channel and we need you guys to subscribe, like, share, and do all that stuff. And if you listen, also, Mr. Miller, we're going to give you his Cash App so you can send in your tithes and offering, because he really preached. He preached on our show today, and we are very appreciative, Mr. Miller. You've been saying whatever what we've been trying to say in a nutshell. We love it. Thank you so much for being on, man.
What was that you were just holding up? Your AARP card?
No, that was a flip. No, that was a flip phone, Marvin. That was a flip phone.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm old,
He
bro.
holding up his AARP card on here. Listen, these little young girls ain't got that card.
He had up that flip phone. Hey, he had that flip phone.
I'm not John Morant. I'm not John Morant.
Hey, next time you gonna see him put a hit of jupe on, Steve.
Yeah.
Steven Smith, it's your turn before we turn it over to these gentlemen. What you got coming up? How can folks find you? All that good stuff.
Well, tomorrow you got player interviews at 1, so we'll see what players that Coach Saban allow us to talk to. Normally it's the juniors, seniors, upperclassmen. In my own words, tomorrow we continuing with spring ball, day 2 of spring practice. You know, everybody going to talk about them quarterbacks. That's going to be an ongoing conversation, but other position battles as well to look out for and to watch. I mean, spring ball is going to be fun all the way around. I mean, just looking at the videos yesterday of Tommy Reese with the quarterbacks. I mean, Kevin Steele looked like he was ready to rip into the whole defense in one video. I'm like, man, Kevin Steele was looking serious. So, I mean, this group, if you can just look at even Coach Saban yesterday, looked like he was in rare midseason form. He got mad at me, and I'm asking him a question about the coaching staff. So we're already seeing, 2023, Saban's like, I'm coming back for this, Kirby. Watch out, I'm coming back for this. Because if you getting mad at me for asking a legit question, you're trying to come back for something.
Yeah. Hey, Justin, one other thing that's very, very important. You got to let the people know that we will be live. Let them know, Justin. We will be live.
I'm going to. After, matter of fact, these gentlemen are going to be a part of it. Hey, real quick, guys. Again, pop what you got. Tell the folks in the audience where they can find your podcast and everything you have going on.
Yeah. So again, it's the Miller's Edge on YouTube. We go live on there. We try to go once a week, typically on Mondays. So if everybody go over there and like, comment, subscribe on our videos, definitely subscribe. Trying to build that up. We want to build a nice little platform, get a little audience in there, have you guys on there, ask questions, do all that. Go subscribe there. Marvin, we're going to get you on there sometime soon.
What?
Steve, you can come on too. I'd already told Steven that he can come on too. We want everybody on there. Like I said, we want to just keep it growing and keep it going. And we just got to build it up. So we appreciate all the support there. It's got a Twitter at the Miller's Edge and Instagram at the Miller's Edge. We're going to keep pumping out content, talking football, basketball, you name it. And just love to have everybody over there as well. But make sure you guys subscribe to the Bama Standard first and foremost in their channel, because y'all do great work, and we're glad you have us on here and always enjoy hopping on with you guys.
Y'all gonna have to make a choice. Y'all gonna have to make a choice. Either make a choice, either me or Marvin. Choose high or low.
We'll do two different episodes. What are you eating, man?
What is that?
Is that a bowl full of
No. Hey. He got that free. He got that free with a purchase of Marvin's book.
There's protein and no carbs in there, no sugar. No carbs, no sugar. Go to my workout book.
Bro, get the whole prize.
He got that. Hey, Marvin, he got that free with a purchase of your book.
That is
he had to get that from Buc-ee's.
Wow.
That is
so, ladies and gentlemen, if you purchase the book,
man. Appreciate y'all having us. Check out Pastor Payne 57 though, and my Facebook Pastor Payne as well. And I am serious. Sometimes I give you a good word. You're looking for a good word from the Lord. Now I'm gonna give you something.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna give you something to chew on every day. More than
the fact that you pulled out that big jug of pork rind, you drive an old
barrel.
Lincoln, don't you?
It's a Lincoln.
You drive an old Lincoln with the suspension broke, Steve.
Hey, listen. Shout out to Alabama basketball.
Yes, sir.
You know, Brandon Miller, keep your head up to all them boys on that team. You know, these folks throwing rocks through glass houses, trying to, you know, put that. Listen, man, stay strong. You know, continue to stay strong, bro. I'm watching here in South Kakalaki. Bro, bro.
Yes, sir.
That is.
Now, program notes for the Bama Standard. Hard for Steve not to give the news, but unless you're living under a rock. No, you're good. Unless you're living under a rock, folks, we're going to be live at the Bryant Museum April 25th and 26th. And if Christian Miller and Corey Miller can be available, we'd love to have them on set with us at the Bryant Museum. So we need everybody who's a fan of this show coming in. Get there early. Steve Brown's going to be signing some Stacey Adams.
Socks.
Look, I'll be giving away. Hey,
And there's gonna be
I'll be giving away limited 3D glasses.
And there's gonna be barrels of pork rinds for Mr. Miller to sign.
Yeah, but you know, now I have some jalapeno cheese to dip these.
All right, Mr. Miller, if you come, no, you can't be doing no traps and no curls before you show up. You look like that type. You in the mirror doing this every time before you walk out there.
And ladies and gentlemen, y'all make sure y'all get there early because Marvin was going to be giving away some tight T-shirts with the back cut out. So make sure.
Oh my God.
And he'll be signing knee braces.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
On Monday next week, I'm being Tuscaloosa.
No, but seriously, guys, fans, we know you love the show. We wouldn't be here without you. So please show up and show out. We'll be there live in person. Finally, you get to see us do our thing. This channel right here, we got a lot going on. As we've already said, we are exclusively here at the Bama Standard YouTube channel. Subscribe. Help us to get to 10,000 subscribers. That is the new goal. The next program, 8 p.m. Central, right here, the final whistle of Matt Caddell and Chris James and Dan James. They are going to be previewing the Sweet 16 all basketball show. Alabama legend Kennedy Winston will be on hand to give his thoughts on just how far this team can go. Tomorrow night, right here again, 7 p.m. Central, the developmental focus points. Christian has been on before with Bo Scarbrough, Blake Sims, Christian Jones, and Trent Richardson. So check that out. Also, guys, if you missed our tribute for Ahmad Galloway, it is now available on this channel. And if you still wish to give towards that cause, and the cause is any money donated goes directly to a scholarship for our college fund for his kids. And how do you do that? You click on the thanks button and donate what you wish. No pressure from us. We'll take any and everything. Again, this is for his children. So please check that out. And let's make that show go viral. Have a lot of great former players from Marvin's day to share amazing memories. But
don't make it sound like I'm old. My day. Like I'm ancient or something.
Oh, you old?
You can mark me down, Justin. I'll be there with y'all. One or both of those days. You can mark me down.
You gotta put a shirt on. No, don't come out there with that tank top on, man. Listen,
I came back from the gym.
You know.
No, I came back from the gym, so I'll make sure I have a polo on and I'm professionally dressed. Don't worry.
I'm wearing a tank top.
Polo from Baby Gap, though. It's from Baby Gap.
I'm wearing a tank top. I'm wearing a tank top. Y'all gonna get up a nice serving of these titties. I'm wearing a tank top. I don't care what you say.
What's your promo code for your OnlyFans, Steve?
Oh, Lord. Oh, wow.
Titties and love handles. That's what you're getting.
Wow.
Hey, have you ever come to South Carolina?
Huh?
Have you ever done a show in South Carolina?
Yes, sir. The comedy house.
Right around from my house.
Oh.
About 2 miles for the comedy house in the hood, but we're not in the hood.
I had to make that known. You ain't in the hood.
Steve just followed a trail of pork rinds.
Hey, we close. Yeah. I heard the sirens that night.
That man said follow the trail of pork rind.
Well, that's going to do it for
I
us
got to
here.
go and run out of minutes. I got to go.
Well, that'll do it for us here at the Bama Standard 4. You head out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Corey, for being on. Tremendous blessing. Had a great time as usual. Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll
Roll
Tide.
Tide.
Roll
Roll
Tide.
Tide.